Hello and welcome to my vvvv graphics tutorial. So I changed the name from LearnLog to graphics tutorial since I've spent about a year already learning Gamma. And when I started, I was really excited on learning vvvv Gamma, and I wanted to keep sharing all the knowledge I kept learning. But learning always just draws this really weird curve that suddenly you start to understand, like, you get to know a lot of things in the same time. And I had a struggle that it was really hard for me to keep sharing all the knowledge that I kept learning. These are some posts that I've been making on Instagram recently. If you haven't followed, please follow me on Instagram. But these graphics are, for example, made with vvvv Gamma using mostly Fuse. But yeah, it's been a very powerful tool. I want to dedicate my channel more onto graphics. And if you're interested in learning the basic of vvvv, they already have a channel called vvvv, which has a lot of very nice tutorials, basic tutorials such as, where was it? Yeah, vvvv Gamma tutorials, vvvv Gamma how-to. So if you go here, there's a bunch of basic knowledge like for each loop, repeat, OSC message, and everything. So if you haven't followed vvvv, this is a place to go. And yeah, that's the reason why I'm switching this channel to vvvv Gamma, a graphics tutorial. So for today's tutorial, I'm going to share how to use FFT and do some sort of like audio reactive visual in vvvv Gamma using Skia render engine, which is a 2D rendering engine. So yeah, let's get started. Okay, so yesterday I made this patch just to test if everything was working fine. So this patch visualizes an audio input and blurs the edge of the sphere and draws some sort of like rectangles around the sphere. So for example, if I play a music like this, then as you can see, it's interacting to the music. And this is what I want to go for this. I made it for testing, so there's a few different things that I'm doing here. But what I basically want to share today is basic setup for FFT and applying FFT values to a Skia 2D engine to draw, I don't know, like audio reactive objects in 2D. So I'm going to avoid blurring these kind of stuff. Skia has all these function in it. So if you want to play around with blurry sphere or whatever, I'm not going to follow that for today's tutorial. Okay, so I'll delete this one. And first of all, I would need a render. Oh, I'm going to delete these guys. I'm going to finish this guy again. And then I'm going to open up a new one. Okay, so if you press render, if you type render, the first thing you'll notice that there is no render in default. And this is because vvvv has two render engine, which is basically Skia and Stride, which is listed up here. And these two have a node called render, but they are packed like in this present box, and you have to unpack this to get a render node. And this is I guess they made it like this because if you have all the render nodes set in default, when you open up vvvv Gamma for the first time, then it takes a lot of time for loading. And they probably wanted to avoid that, so they decided to leave it in the pack, and users can choose if they want to unpack that for their certain usage. For today, we're going to be using VL Skia render. So if you click this one, then it will unpack VL Skia, so you don't see VL Skia here anymore. Instead of that, you actually see a render node. So if you click this, yay, we've got our first render right here. So I'm going to put this guy here and then bring this render window a little bit smaller. Okay, then I'll zoom in a little bit. So if you already played around with vvvv beta, you already might know, but render has, for example, a color input. So if you press Control and scroll it down or up with your right click, you should be able to change saturation or V or like hue or alpha. And in vvvv, the above ones are the input nodes and the below ones are the output nodes. Pins, sorry. So this is the first thing to do. And next thing I want to do is I want to make sure that FFT node is in my patch. As you can see, I don't see an FFT node, but FFT node is included in the VL audio pack. So if I extract this, I should be able to see an FFT node here. If you don't see an VL audio pack, that's probably because you don't have it installed. What you have to do is you have to install Nugget from this VL Nugget, and then you just have to type VL audio right here in the search bar to find out VL or vvvv gamma dedicated audio packs. So this one is the one we were using today. So if you don't have it installed here, I just copy this one and go back to vvvv gamma, go all the way to the Nugget, manage Nugget, and then command line and just type Nugget space copy paste, and then delete this something package thing, and then if you press enter, VL audio pack should be installed in your vvvv gamma. If you want to know deeper with Nuggets, there are 2 tutorials, one on my YouTube and the second one is on the vvvv. So if you haven't watched this, vvvv has a bunch of really cool tutorials, and they have how to Nugget and all this kind of stuff. So if you want to learn the basic of vvvv gamma, this is the place to go. And another thing, to let the audio engine work, you might see an error saying you don't have ASIO for all driver installed, and to do so, I'll put this link below, but audio engine needs an audio driver, and I suggest using this ASIO for all driver. So if you go here, you should be able to see ASIO for all beta, whatever Japanese or English could be, but here you should be able to install ASIO for all audio engine. And after installing these, you should probably also need an ASIO for all banana. Oh, voice meter banana. Voice meter banana. I'll put the link for this one below as well, and just make sure you install this one from here. And then after installing this, you should be able to see a software like this, and here you can specify the input and the output of this driver. And what it does is you need this software to let vvvv understand what kind of input source you want to play inside vvvv. So here I have a microphone dedicated to hardware input, and as a hardware output I have a speaker like USB audio decal, but these ones are also going to this voice meter AUX and voice meter VIO thing, and it's outputting this A1 channel through these two as well. So it has some sort of like a virtual input which I can select in vvvv gamma to use it as an audio input. So if you don't have any microphone connected to your machine, you don't really have to care about this hardware input. You just have to make sure that your hardware output is specified here. So once all the setup is done, let's get an audio imp node, and this guy should let's just see an audio input. And as you can see, at the moment there's no wave here, nothing is working, and that's because we have to specify the driver, but I'm gonna do that later on. First of all, as you can see, it has 2 output coming from this, and I only need one of them because they are right and left channels, and I only need one of them. So I'll use a get slice node, and then get only one out of it, and then connect it to the FFT. And as you can see right now, I don't see any input. What I have to do is add a node called driver setting, and this from here you can specify which input audio you want to use. So I'm going to be using voice meter virtual ASIO here, and after clicking this, bang, now we've got the values coming out from the FFT node, and it has 256 of them. Okay, So now I've got my audio driver all connected to vvvv, and next thing I want to do is I want to draw something on the renderer. First of all, I'll type rectangle, and there's a bunch of rectangles, but choose the third one here, and then I connect this one here. Now we've got a very white clean rectangle on our renderer, and since FFT has 256 output from here, I want to line these on a circular spread in this window. So what I'll be doing here is, first of all, add a circular spread node, which is this one, and then I'll add a count node, this one, and from here I'll just use spread. And what this count node does is that it calculates how many output it has from FFT. So here FFT has 256, and if you put count node, it says 256 as an output. So I'm going to connect this one to circular spread so that I can make sure that circular spread has the equal amount of the FFT output. And then I want to connect these output as a vector2 input for the rectangle. What I will do is transform Skia transform. Yep, and then if you go to transform, click the second one, and the second one should have a Skia transform node. So I'll click this one, connect this one here, and then connect this one here. And next thing I have to do is I'll have to add a matrix node, matrix input. I'll need to feed a matrix input to this transform mode, so I'll type SRT, and then there is a transform SRT. SRT means scale, rotation, transform. So then there is a 2D transform node, so I'll use this one, and then as you can see, it has a matrix output and scale, rotation, and translation input. So I'll connect this one to the transform. And what I can do here is I can, for example, rotate this rectangle or scale this rectangle, or yeah, I can do whatever I want. And there is also translation. So I want to connect these guys to translation, but as you can see, I can't connect, and this is because this guy is a spread of vector2 and this guy is just a single vector2. And this is a little trick in vvvv gamma that you'll be using quite a lot. So we have to understand what to do. What I have to do is I'll need to surround these three nodes, right click, surround, and there is a region called for each. So as you can see now, if I click for each, there is a region around it. It's a slight gray region, and things inside here are moving together with the region, which means it's inside, and this is a for each loop. So what I have to do is I'll connect the circular spread to the splicer. Splicer is this thing that there are two places that you can click. If you click the top one, left click, now I can connect my transform vector2 to my transform SRT. And I'm not going to explain what for each does because I'm not really sure, or I can't really explain it clearly. But yeah, it just does it does that operation for each time for these 256 output from the circular spread. So once this is done, I'll connect this transform out to the splicer output. And then as you can see, my for each loop region output has 256 rectangles drawn on the screen. However, at the moment I can't connect this directly to the renderer. There's no way, and this is because I have to group these guys and say it's one layer rather than 256 layer. So I'll type group, and then in group there is a node called group spectral, and it uses to connect a spread of layer to one input. Okay, so I'll get this one, I'll connect the output splicer to the group, and then now we've got 256 rectangles all over the screen, and it's kind of like circular. Let's see if I'm right. So if I scale this guy down, Yep, it's perfectly aligned on a circular spread. So we're getting really close. So next thing I want to do is I want these guys to react to the audio, and I'll assign this FFT to the scale Y of this rectangle. So I connect this FFT to the for each, and then since FFT is a float, I will need to convert this to a vector 2 join, and then I only need this guy to be connected to the Y input, so I'll connect this guy to the Y input, and then vector 2 out to the scaling. Right now I don't see anything, and that's because I don't have a scale for X. So scale X1 up. And I guess it's better if I have a little bit more input for the Y input. So I'll multiply. I need to bring all these down. Yep. So I'll multiply the input, or I'll gain the input by multiplying this to 3. Yep, so now whenever I change my microphone input, it reacts to my voice. Okay, this is quite clear. Okay, so last thing I want to do here is I want these guys. So as you can see, I'll turn off the FFT for now. As you can see, if I turn up the y-axis goes all the way to the top, and I want these guys to face center rather than how do you say the y-axis. And to do so, I'll add a node called angle and 2D angle, and then I'll connect the splicer to the angle, and then rotation to angle to rotation. So now if I scale all these up, yep, now this is correct. Let me see. Yeah, now as you can see, they are all facing to the center, I guess. Let me see if I'm right. There is a camera node, for Skia 2D. There is a 2D camera. So if I connect this guy after this group and render, now I should be able to scroll and then zoom in, zoom out, and right click to move right and left. So as you can see, yeah, now all the rectangles are facing center, and this is because this angle node just helps that for me. Like, it calculates the angle from here to the circular spread of each individual position. So now if I connect this FFT vector 2 out to the scaling, yep, it's still wrong. So it seems like everything was not facing the center, but it was facing, I'm not sure where, but I think this should be easy to fix. I'll add a plus node and then scaling a little bit higher. Yep, and then I'll change the angle, and then I'll plus, should be 0.25 or something here. Yep, so now everything is facing center. Okay, so now if I connect this vector 2 input to the scale, every how to say, lines will be reacting, and they will all be facing center of this. I think I'll change the multiply to 1 again, so that it's a bit more clear to see if it's all facing center. Okay, and let me play the music to check if it's all okay. Yep, this is perfect. It's working fine as I expected. Yeah, that was it for today. Hope you enjoyed. If you have any comments, troubles following today's tutorial, please let me know through the comment. some people might not see driver setting node on vvvv Gamma, and that's because you haven't updated vvvv Gamma to the most recent one. They changed the name from audio engine to driver setting. So if you don't see it, please make sure to update vvvv Gamma to the most recent one. And also, if there's any specific topic that you want me to follow, please write that on a comment as well, because I'm not sure what would be an interesting topic for me to share. And yeah, also subscribing to my channel would be very helpful, so please subscribe it. Yeah, that was it for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.